I'd like to call to order the Florence City Council meeting for April 1st, 2024. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Counselor Van Houten.
Here.
Counselor Stiefel.
Here.
Counselor Mergelman.
Here.
Counselor Gardner.
Here.
Counselor Stone.
Here.
Counselor McKinnon.
Here.
Mayor Wolf.
Here. Item 3, presentations. I'd like to invite Ashley Ruth from the Family Crisis Center to come up to the dais here. And Fremont and the Family Crisis Center serves Fremont and Custer County, correct? Yes. Okay, thank you. Proclamation. Sexual Assault Awareness Month, April 2024. Whereas April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month and calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every person in Fremont County, and whereas every day women, men, and children across Colorado suffer the pain and trauma of sexual assault upon survivors and our communities, and whereas this crime occurs far too frequently, goes unreported far too often, and leaves long-lasting physical and emotional scars, and whereas during the National Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we recommit ourselves to lifting the veil of secrecy and shame surrounding sexual violence, expanding support for victims, and strengthening our response. And whereas sexual violence affects individuals of all ages, backgrounds, and circumstances. And whereas as a community we share the responsibility for protecting each other from sexual assault, supporting victims when it does occur, and bringing perpetrators to justice. And whereas at every level we must work to provide necessary resources to victims of every circumstance, including medical attention, mental health services, relocation and housing assistance, and advocacy during the criminal justice process. And whereas Florence, Colorado can come together to increase awareness about sexual violence, decrease its frequency, hold offenders accountable, support victims, and heal lives. Now, therefore, let it be proclaimed, City Council of Florence, Colorado, that the month of April 2024 is hereby designated as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Florence, Colorado, and hereby urge the community to work together to educate themselves about sexual violence prevention, to support survivors, and speak out against harmful attitudes and actions. Signed this first day of April 2024 by Steve Wolf, Florence Mayor. Thank you. Is this I'll come around there. Item 4, public comment. Ashley, you had signed up, but are we good? Okay. Okay. Kathy Madonna.
Kathy Madonna, 504 Brookway. Single mother with a young boy to raise and provide for. Smart, hardworking, strong, absolute in righteousness, inquisitive, defiant. This is how I describe Sarah Glenn. When Sarah worked for the City of Florence in the water department, she was a single mother with a young boy to support, purchased her own home, remodeled her own home, doing all the electrical, plumbing, and carpentry herself. She came to work for Florence in the water department, becoming knowledgeable of process and procedures and asked questions, which apparently was threatening to certain supervisory staff and was punished, retaliated against with obscene sexual gestures, assigned work duty that included several days of working independently in day-long heat of 110 degrees, and accused of being on drugs, among other things. Asking department heads and city council for help, she was met with skepticism, minimization, accusations, and not given proper ability to defend herself from said department heads and city council in executive sessions. Even the former city manager at the time, Mike Patterson, wrote an email to Sarah supporting her claims of harassment, and this was discussed in one of the executive sessions by Lori Cobbler and Matt Krob, the former city attorney. But the hostile environment that was created by not supporting her valid claims ran rogue. So regardless of validity, Sarah became the target of indignant self-righteousness from supervisors, city administration, and city council, and co-workers. I'm providing you this information as most of you on current council will now be going into executive session regarding Sarah Glenn's lawsuit against the city. I think it unfair that you may not know who she is and being asked to make decisions regarding her lawsuit. If you have not taken the time to learn who Sarah Glenn is, nor read court documents, nor listened to executive sessions, you will not be able to make fair decisions for Sarah and will bring past misjudgments to current misjudgments and unfairness. I don't know what legal counsel will be discussed tonight. I would love to see the lawsuit go to trial, as I would love to see and hear the justifications for Sarah's treatment by the city made public. I support Sarah Glenn's lawsuit, as I think any independent, self-supporting working woman would. She did not create the hostile environment, but was rather a victim of it, and she deserves her day in court. And remember that any advice given to you by the city attorney will be made with the primary thought of protecting the city. It is the council's job to protect the people. Thank you. And please be sure to turn on the tape during your executive session.
Thank you, Kathy. All right, item 5, consent agenda. Meeting minutes for March 18th, 2024. Expenditure approval for March 14th, 2024. March 21, 2024, and March 28, 2024. Do we have a motion to approve consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
And do we have a second?
A second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstain? Motion passes. Old business. Consider approving the second reading of ordinance 22-2024, budgeting and appropriating additional sums of money for the pool park and recreation fund for the 2023 budget year. City manager?
This is a housekeeping item. You passed the first reading last time. It's simply the statutory requirement that we update the appropriated sums of money because the expenditures exceeded what were originally budgeted in this particular fund.
Any questions from the council? Do you have a motion to approve second reading of ordinance number 2-2024?
I'll make the motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2-2024, an ordinance budgeting and appropriating additional sums of money for the pool park and recreation fund for the 23 budget year for the city of Florence, Colorado.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor Mergelman?
Yes.
Counselor Van Houten?
Yes.
Counselor Stiefel?
Yes.
Counselor Gardner?
Yes.
Counselor Stone?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes. New business. Item 7A. Considering adopting a resolution adopting an outside agency funding request program for the city of Florence, Colorado.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. At your March 4th, 2024 work session, the Florence City Council provided staff with direction to develop a program for outside agency funding with the following goals. The program should be of direct benefit to the City of Florence, the citizens of Florence, and/or businesses located in Florence. The program should allow expansion of the agency's services, and the program should improve citizen quality of life. In addition to these goals, the council asks that certain criteria be included as part of the selection process. These criteria include preference for those with a local physical location, consideration of services offered by the organization, projects or specific use preferred, an end-of-year follow-up, 501c3 preferred, show a history of grants or funding sources, a maximum of $5,000 per entity, and ineligible uses listed such as salaries, taxes, utilities, rent, and mortgage. Finally, Council requested that a scoring matrix be developed and utilized with a minimum score being required for funding consideration. The program before you incorporates these goals, criteria, and requests from the workshop. As described in the Council Action Form, the program is adopted by resolution, with the program overview document being incorporated by reference. This document provides a high-level conceptualization of the program, as well as more specific policy-related details. It is intended to create guardrails around the program and to clearly outline the spirit in which the program is intended. The overview document also outlines the funding selection process, which starts with the application, goes to the review committee who scores the application on a matrix, and then those with high enough scores present to the council during a regular city council meeting prior to the statutorily required public hearing for the budget. Council provides consensus regarding what organizations they wish to include for funding in the budget, and final approval takes place as part of the budget approval process. This allows for the following. The review committee narrows down the application field utilizing a scoring matrix that includes objective criteria. The council provides consensus for who receives funding. And the importance of public input is still honored as this consensus takes place prior to the development of the draft budget and prior to the statutorily required budget public hearing, meaning all will have an opportunity to provide comment during the public hearing. The overview and program in general do allow for some operational latitude. For example, while certain elements are required in the application and scoring matrix documents, other elements can be added or reformatted as necessary when needed for operational efficiency. Adopting the full application and all associated processes would result in the program becoming clunky and difficult to manage, as all changes would require returning to council for updated resolutions. In this case, the program would return to council for contextual and meaningful changes, not for changes made in compliance with the spirit of the program, which simply enhance the efficiency of operation.
Thank you. At this time, is there any public comment regarding this outside agency funding request program? Again, state your name and address.
Peg Pilton Drude, 5019 County Road 123, Penrose. And I wasn't going to speak, except one of the other people sitting back there said they weren't going to, so I said I would. As I'm sitting here looking at the audience, what I'm seeing is thousands and thousands of volunteer hours. And they are from the tree board, I see the senior citizens, the merchants, the chamber, archives, and the Florence Arts Council. Quality of life is one of her criteria. I think they all fit into that. Last but not least, I don't know if you guys are aware, but volunteer hours can now be counted as $31 an hour against any grant things. So then, I mean, that's phenomenal when you're looking at the thousands of hours sitting there. Amen.
Yeah. Thank you. Sue?
Sue Kinzer, 302 Wilson. One simple question. Who is the review committee?
Okay.
Do you want me to answer that now or when we do council discussion?
That will come up in council discussion in just a second here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other public comment? Okay, at this time we will take questions, discussions from the council. So I'll start, just a quick question. So what we'd be approving today would be more of the program itself. We're not approving the actual application form.
That is correct. You're approving the resolution, and then there was a program overview document included in your packet.
Right.
That's being incorporated by reference into the resolution. So those are the items you're approving right now. The application itself and the scoring matrix were included for reference, but they're based on the criteria required in the program overview document. So there are certain things that will have to be included in that application and in the scoring matrix, which are outlined in the program overview document. That simply prevents having to return to council for an update to the resolution because we want to slightly reformat the application or switch questions 2 and 3 or something administrative and mildly operational, but that's non-contextual.
Okay.
What's the proposed schedule that these things will be approved?
So the requirement that it goes before the council will be before the budget public hearing, which takes place in October. So I would anticipate the outside agency request discussion item being held at a late August or early September meeting in order to allow staff time to finish the preparation of the draft budget in advance of the statutorily required budget public hearing.
Okay.
And then, of course, backing up from there for the application process, et cetera.
Right.
So one meeting between here and there, we could discuss the application forms? Or will we do this all at once?
The application form is actually not being approved. You're approving the program document, which approves the contents of the application form, like the required contents.
And the question that was on the floor, can we go over what was proposed in here? For how many, who makes up the committee?
Yes. So in the program overview document, there is a section on the review committee. So all applications that are received by each year's published deadline will be reviewed by a review committee prior to any recommendations to the Florence City Council. So these would be recommendations for who comes forward to present. The review committee is created on an annual basis and includes 2 City of Florence City Council members who are nominated by and selected amongst themselves each year during a regular City Council meeting prior to the close of acceptance for applications. So similar to how you selected a mayor pro tem, you would nominate and select amongst yourself those 2 individuals, the city manager and the finance director. And then on an annual basis, the Florence City Council may, by vote of the council at a regular council meeting, choose to expand the makeup of the review committee if you want to include anyone else. So you would do that on an annual basis if you feel that there need to be additional members included. You don't have to approve what you want that to look like tonight. You would approve that in a future meeting. This is just saying this is the core makeup. Council has the ability to expand it on an annual basis by vote of the council. Does that make sense?
Yes, and then
Okay.
the choices that they make or present to us, they'll be decided on when we vote on the budget.
Yes. So the scoring matrix, all of that becomes public record. They will give a discussion, it will be under the presentation items and be up for discussion. Then council by consensus decides who that they want to fund, and that becomes part of the budget. So this is actually just a piece of the budget process. This is just outlining a more stringent process around this particular piece of the budget process.
The rule was asking about the timeline for it. And that timeline you presented would be for the 2025 budget.
Yes.
Correct. So we'll have to come back and
accelerate the timeline. for
accelerate
this
a
year's.
timeline in the very near future.
Yes,
Okay, we've already in the budget approved
yes,
up to $20,000.
that is correct.
And so we will have to go through this process
Yes.
probably in the fairly
the
near
very
fu-
near future,
Very near
yes.
future.
Yes, this will allow staff to kind of get that rolling and moving forward.
Okay, I have one question. On the outside agencies, they don't have to be a 501c3 to apply?
So during the work session, council said that they would like that to be a preferred criteria. So if you look at the example matrix, which again is just an example, not what you're adopting, and in the program document, it says that that is a preference. So they would receive additional score for being a 501c3, but they don't necessarily have to be one in order to get funding.
And could there be other 50C organizations? 50C3 is the most common. I believe there's a 501C19, which is,
Yeah, I mean, there's a variety of different structures, all tax related, but certainly if the council's wish is to include anything in those categories, we could write the matrix or otherwise to say, 501 designation, and it would include C3, C4, et cetera.
Yes, we could simply edit, if you approved it, you would approve it as amendment, with an amendment to the document that scores relating to the applicant's 501C status instead of 501C3 status.
so keep that in mind, council, if somebody, when we make a motion, if we want to include that, you need to include that in your motion.
Who's gonna bring up what items we're gonna handle in what order? Like the application or the finalizing all the detailed things?
So it outlines the order in here that everything has to take place. It just doesn't provide exact dates because this is meant to be an ongoing program overview, not year specific. So the order starts with the application, then review of the application, then bringing it forward to council.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, there's a pretty good nice flow chart in here that shows all the steps. If they don't meet a minimum score, then they're no longer considered. And on this flow chart, it says presentation to council. It's that the applicant would present to council.
Yes, that would be the applicant's presentation to the council.
Okay.
And on the application currently, again, which is not being adopted, but language in there states that they must present to council or they will not be considered. If they are a finalist, they must present to the council.
Okay.
I guess that's misunderstood. I was thinking of the schedule of when we actually approve, like the application form, all the other detail we have to have in place. Who makes up the committee and
So the committee would be voted on by the council sometime prior to the close of the application process. The application itself will be driven by what's in the program overview document. If you want to approve an actual application, then you would have to do it by resolution, but that means coming back for every minor operational or
I know,
efficiency change.
The reason I'm saying that, I'm thinking about having time for this to get out to the public.
Oh, yeah.
So they have a form to follow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's pretty much ready. We'll go through and kind of pick through, make sure what it matches what's in the program document, create an electronic version, etc. And then with that little bit of operational leeway with what's intended in the spirit in here, and as long as it's meeting and it's not a contextual change, then we can say, oh, this question's not working, but it wasn't included in the program overview anyway. It was a superfluous question. Let's remove that.
I was going to say, can I give an example of what a small contextual change might be?
Yes.
Like on the, on the scoring rubric, it says the funding will allow expansion. No, number 3, the funding will improve quality of life for Florence citizens. I would like to see that in there, Florence area citizens. because we have people who, might live one block outside. They're contributing, they're involved in all the stuff in Florence, and that's Florence area citizens. I don't think we can box ourselves in with a distinct property line there.
Well, a lot of those people take part in the nonprofits here.
Yeah. Yep. Any other questions, thoughts from the council? And I know this is going to be our first attempt through this. I mean, we're taking a big step, I think, here. Because that's one thing I think we all made really, really clear, that we wouldn't be awarding these unless we had a process to go through. And I think we have one here.
Yeah, I think this is a good process in the beginning, a starting point. And there again, like everything we do, I believe it would be a living document that if we see something that needs a change or removed, then we go ahead and make that. So, but going through this process, it looks pretty sound in my opinion.
Would someone like to make a motion adopting resolution for the outside agency funding request program?
I'll make the motion for a resolution adopting an outside agency funding request program for the city of Florence, amending the 501c3 to just be 501c.
Okay. And can you put the resolution number in that motion, please?
Where's that? Sorry, adopt resolution 5-2024.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Van Houten,
Yes.
Counselor Mergelman,
Yes.
Counselor Stiefel,
Yes.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
Counselor Stone,
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon,
I abstain, and I also want to make the comment that I will not be participating in this decision at all. So please respect that.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Okay. New business item 7B. Consider adopting an ordinance authorizing the lease agreement renewal for the Colorado State Patrol Troop 2A. City Manager?
Under state statute, this has to be done by ordinance. This is simply an extension of the ongoing lease with the Colorado State Patrol. Dan did do some negotiations with them, so there may have been some minor changes to the previous that he can better describe.
Yeah, there was a little bit of back and forth on some legal stuff, but essentially the only real change is the rent, and that was just adjusted in line with CPI. They didn't push back at all, but certainly if you like those numbers or don't like those numbers, that is something you could weigh in on.
Questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. Yeah, I'm sorry. Right here.
Here.
Ordinance number 3-2024, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Florence approving the lease of city property to the state of Colorado, acting by and through the Department of Public Safety for the use of the Colorado State Patrol, and authorizing execution of the related lease documents.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon,
Yes.
Counselor Van Houten,
Yes.
Counselor Stiefel,
Yes.
Counselor Mergelman,
Yes.
Counselor Stone,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Item 7C, consider adopting an ordinance amending Chapter 2.20 of the Florence Municipal Code related to the Planning Commission. City Manager.
Staff is currently in the early stages of holistically revising the City of Florence Municipal Code. This will be a long-term, ongoing process, with this suggested revision being one of the first items selected. as the current code regarding the Planning Commission is very outdated, referencing the 1973 Colorado Revised Statutes. While this is a sweeping change to Chapter 2.20, staff considers this a housekeeping item. While many of the changes are contextual in nature, they are additions intended to provide clarification rather than changes to how the Planning Commission currently conducts its business. Many of the additions are language derived from statute and placed in the code for easier reference. The additions include clarification of purpose, powers, and duties of the Planning Commission, clarification of the makeup of the Planning Commission, introduction of a significantly more robust appointment and selection process for Planning Commission, clarification regarding Planning Commission meeting logistics, clarification that the Planning Commission serves in an advisory capacity, and clarification of the roles of city staff with regard to the Planning Commission. Council did receive a slightly updated ordinance. There was a change to section 2.20.110, advisory capacity. The language in statute or was added to the sentence except as specifically provided in statute or to the contrary in the city's zoning ordinance, which relates to the advisory capacity. This was added for additional clarification. It was farther down in the ordinance, but we wanted to make sure that it was within that section, so it was a little easier to read and reference.
All right, thank you. Is there any public comment on this? Hearing none, any other questions from City Council? I'll make a comment on the updated process for selecting, as it's going to, is this same process going to selection going to apply to all committees?
If you approve the upcoming ordinance on the Board of Zoning Adjustment, which is your next order of business, it has an identical process. So as we go through the codification of each thing, I would recommend adopting an identical process for all committees, commissions, etc.
Okay. Okay. And I'll just say this, as the mayor, I like this, having another member of council being part of the selection team, making sure we get a consensus on selecting those members, and then presenting it to council for approval of those members on the commission and BOZA and any other committees that come up. Plus, the other thing I like about it is it's proactive. So when we know somebody's term is about to expire, we start looking ahead and not wait until that happens. Do we have any other questions? Okay. We have a motion to consider adopting an ordinance amending Chapter 20.22.20 of the Florence Municipal Code.
I'll make a motion. We adopt ordinance 4-2024, an ordinance amending Chapter 2.2 of the Florence Municipal Code relating to the Planning Commission.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Did you include the amendment?
That was we were just discussing. Can the motion say
Yes,
as
we
amended?
need to include that amendment that we got on the updated one.
Okay.
I think
Have one?
Yeah.
Thanks.
You can just say as amended.
As
You don't
amended.
have to read the language.
As amended? That's all? Okay. As amended.
Is that good?
Yes, maybe just say it all.
Say the whole thing
Yeah.
together,
As
including as amended.
Adopt ordinance 4-2024, an ordinance amending Chapter 2.20 of the Florence Municipal Code relating to the Planning Commission as amended.
As amended. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Okay. Roll call, please.
Counselor Stone,
Yes.
Counselor Van Houten,
Yes.
Counselor Stiefel,
Yes.
Counselor Mergelman,
Yes.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Item 7D, consider adopting an ordinance adding Chapter 2.25 of the Florence Municipal Code relating to the Board of Zoning Adjustment. City Manager.
This is another part of the holistic code revision we were just discussing. This item was selected as the current code has the chapter relating to the Board of Zoning Adjustment, otherwise known as BOZA, in Title 17 zoning, specifically Chapter 17.88 Board of Adjustment, when it should be placed in Title II Administration and Personnel, as the chapter relates to the BOZA itself rather than to zoning. The move is consistent with where information regarding BOZA is housed in the municipal codes of other municipalities. It should be noted that while the Planning Commission is generally tasked with initiating and recommending changes to Title 17, this course of action was not required under this circumstance as, again, the changes are related to BOZA itself and its administration, not to zoning. Again, staff considers this a housekeeping item. It's intended to provide clarification rather than changes to how BOZA currently conducts business at the board, including clarification of powers, clarification of the role of BOZA in making policy determinations, clarification of makeup of BOZA, introduction of a significantly more robust appointment and selection process, clarification regarding meeting logistics, and clarification of the roles of city staff with regard to BOZA. The changes are also intended to ensure Chapters 2.20 Planning Commission and 2.25 Board of Zoning Adjustment are structured in a similar manner, making them easier for the user to reference. This ordinance also considers removing Municipal Code Chapter 17.88 Board of Adjustment as part of this ordinance to complete the change.
Do we have any public comment? Questions from the council? All right. Hearing none, we have a motion to adopting ordinance adding Chapter 2.25 of the Florence Municipal Code.
I'll make a motion, we adopt ordinance 5-2024, an ordinance adding chapter 2.25 of the Florence Municipal Code and repealing chapter 17.88, both relating to the Board of Zoning Adjustments.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Mergelman,
Aye.
Counselor Stone,
Yes.
Counselor Van Houten,
Yes.
Counselor Stiefel,
Yes.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Okay, item 8, council updates, city council reports. Gail.
None, thank you. I was on vacation.
Okay. Tammy?
Yes, I attended the merchants meeting on Thursday. They have a car show coming up in May, and they are looking for some volunteers. And if you're available, if you could talk to Sue at Trending on Main, that'd be great. Also, the Chamber of Commerce has a ribbon cutting on Wednesday, April 3rd at the Goal Academy, which is on Main Street. That would be from 2 to 4. And then they have a business after hours at Bank of the San Juan, April 18th from 5:30 to 7.
Thank you. Brenda?
I have nothing.
Rule?
Yeah, I announced the secret everybody knows about. I go to FEDC once a month, and it's the Economical Development Council in Canyon. We're included. And a lot of the discussion is about Florence because of Emergent Campus and a bunch of other stuff going on here. But the one that's been going on, it's been very interesting to me, is our drywall plant has sat empty out here for probably 30 years. And we finally got some people going in there and bringing that back to life. And they could legally announce what's going on, but they've done it and they're doing a lot of work right now. And this is going to have some impact on Florence. They said 60 to 90 jobs down there, and that's between here and Wholesome. So that'll impact our town. They're going to construct state-of-the-art mini homes, and they're going to be made out of foam aluminum shells with steel frames. They're going to be cut out robotically and assembled robotically, and they're going to have state-of-the-art electronic digital heating, cooling. They can be built to be off the grid. It's quite a program, but they'll come off the assembly line. If I understood it right, 400 square feet, which is 10 by 40, and they'll be legal either as a trailer house, an RV, or a mini home. So you can take your pick. And they're going to be, they said, state of the art. They're going to have their cabinet shop there, and that will be all manual labor in there. So there'll be opportunities for a lot of people to go to work down there. And I know they work real well with the schools here, getting kids trained and stuff to go up there and work. So this will be another opportunity. And he did say that they're going to start at $100,000, and they go up to $200,000. How fancy you want them? And they hope to roll the first ones off in October. So it'll be just nice to see that thing back to life again.
All right, thank you. Matt?
No report.
James?
So I attended the second regional water board for me. Learning still, listening, so hopefully more to come from that. I'd like to say thanks to code enforcement for getting out there and addressing some issues that have been coming by in my email string. So thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you, James. Mayor's report. I've been attending the Senior Center coffee at 9 a.m. on Wednesday mornings, and I enjoy the heck out of it. It's good to get to know some of the people there. And I couldn't tell you what the subjects of discussion were because they range from all over the place. I attended the business after hours at Papa's Pizza. That was a great turnout. So the one at the Bank of the San Juan coming up, I'd say, go try it out. Attended the merchants meeting and discussed the car show, junk teak, everything going on. I've been in communications with Barna Casa, and I've met with Sue Tierney, specifically about the car show schedule. Just helping out there. I'm going to help them out by emceeing the car show. But I want at this time to acknowledge the work put in by all members of the Chamber and the merchants who are organizing these events. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and also to those who volunteer on that particular day. I know the car show volunteering starts at like 4 in the morning or 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I think the event organizers have been open to needs and concerns, and, they've made some adjustments and are trying to work with everybody. Attended the Regional Water Board. Brandon Harris explained to us the installation process for the bar screen, and the bar screen is finally in. And that was about a 1-year process to get that whole thing done. It was never at that emergency level, so it allowed us to take our time, get good bids, get the best piece of equipment that was out there, and Brandon and his crew did a good job of getting that in. And then July 4th committee meeting this Thursday, confirmed to the council that we are sponsoring the Frady Cats on Saturday afternoon at the park. Okay, so that's it. City manager report.
I just wanted to point out a couple of things in my report. We, as I've been putting in there, have started moving to a modern electronic billing system, and we are about 6 weeks away from that going live. Part of that is a cash receipting system that integrates with our accounting system, and staff had some training on that today. So a lot of changes coming, but they'll be really beneficial to citizens as well. It will be very similar to what Fremont Sanitation uses, where you'll get text reminders. You can sign up for that, pay your bill online, pay it by text, make it a lot easier for everyone. So we're excited about that, but they have put a lot of work into getting this done. Staff has, especially Kiana Harris, our billing clerk, Kiana Hess, our billing clerk, and Lori Cobbler, our finance director. And we are also, this week is the field work on our statutorily required routine audit that we have each year. So if you email Lori, expect her responses to be delayed during this time.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? I just had one on the code enforcement, going back to what James brought up. Last time code enforcement was in training. How's that going? And
Chief, did you want to speak to that?
Yeah. Yeah, name and address, please.
Back here, I don't want to know my address, so you know. 4700 Drivers Road. It's doing good. The training, he's on the job training, so he's really at it. The homelessness, he's tackling that as well on his own. He printed out a list and he's talked to individuals, and he's really going forward. I mean, he's really diving into the job, so it's going great.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. Thank you. City Attorney,
Nothing from me yet.
Public Works? No. Okay. Item 9, executive session. Dan?
Yeah, just want to provide an update on this case. So was hoping if the council supports going into executive session, I could provide you with the latest.
Would someone like to make that motion to go into executive session?
I'll make that motion to go into executive session.
Do we need to read the, we need to read the whole thing though?
Yeah, I would reference that exact
Okay.
statute.
Yeah, right here. Okay, I make the motion to go into executive session. APC 6015936-1, Glenn versus City of Florence pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, 4B, an executive session for the purpose of conferring with the city attorney to receive legal advice pertaining to the pending litigation against the city.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. I'd like to invite the city attorney and city manager. Okay. Okay.
Do we need a roll call vote?
Okay. So,
Vote.
roll call vote.
Counselor Gardner?
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor Van Houten?
Yes.
Counselor Stiefel?
Yes.
Counselor Mergelman?
Yes.
Counselor Stone?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes.
Don't adjourn.
Okay.
I don't anticipate this will take
Okay.
too long, but
Okay.
up to you guys.
Okay, for the record, we will be moving to executive council at 7:19.
What are you doing?
Florence City Council is back in session at 7:36. Does any council member have any other need to go into another executive session? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstained? Meeting adjourned at 7:36. Did we send it down to Cortland? Cortland, did you pick up the sign-in sheet? Okay.
Matt, you good?
Do you want everybody to sign this, or? Just you, please. Okay. Please take, and deliver it, okay.